So you try it tonight. Try it with anything in this world. The unmarried, if you desire to be married, what symbol in the world would imply that you are married? A little band in this Western world, a little band around this finger. Not around any other finger. Around this finger. It doesn't have to be the biggest aspidistra in the world. Just a plain little gold ring. If you wore it there, it would imply you're married. Sleep tonight as though you wore one. Don't put your physical thumb on it. Put your imaginary thumb on it. And feel it in your imagination. You can do it. Feel a ball. Can you feel it? Then feel a piece of silk. Feel this, one after the other. Can you discriminate between all these different sensations? If you can discriminate between this and a tennis ball, a baseball, a piece of silk, then you can't discriminate between nothing. There must exist, though unseen by your eyes, there still must exist. So if I can discriminate between these unseen objects, these objects, though unseen, must be real. Well, now take that and put it there. But feel when you wear it that you are proud of the one who put it there. You don't have to see what it looks like. When it's put there, you'll be proud of his name, to bear it, and you'll be proud of him. Just put it there. You know why I know that? My wife did it. She did it. Actually, she did it. One day she was in the presence of a so-called sensitive. And this one said to her, why did you take off your wedding ring? She said, I am not married. Oh, she said, fool me. You took off your wedding ring. She said, but I said, I'm not married. So I didn't tell you his name. And she started off with Neb, never. She didn't quite get it, but she was coming very, very close to it. She was actually sensing what my wife in consciousness was feeling. When I first met her, I wanted her the very first day I knew her. I wanted to marry her. But I was entangled. Was I entangled? But by this law, I disentangled myself. Without hurting anyone, I disengaged myself from all these complexities so that I could actually legitimately say, will you marry me? But in the meanwhile, she was wearing the ring. I hadn't yet put her there, but she allowed me to put her there and set as though I had put her there. So I tell you, unmarried ladies, if you desire to be married, but you don't. If you do, that's the way to do it. And it will come out of nowhere. You don't have to go and buy anyone or try to meet the right people. Usually when you try to meet the right one, it's always the wrong one. So don't go searching. Those who go searching for love only make manifest their own lovelessness. And the loveless never find love. Only the loving find love and they never have to seek for it. So you fall in love, you don't have to seek for it. You draw them. They come to you. So here, this is the power of which I speak. The power of the universe, the power that created and sustains the universe is resident in you as your own wonderful human imagination. That's God. Don't forget it. I know it's difficult when man has been trained to believe in an external God. And he goes to church, gets on his knees, and he prays to an external God. And he goes home at night, maybe he does say his prayers, and he gets down on his knees, and he prays to an external God. All right, maybe that's a nice thing for someone to do. But I tell you, he isn't out there at all. You won't be criticized for it, but he is within you. He is very, very personal. I'm within you. When you're told in Scripture, of the rock that begot us, we are unmindful. And that seems to be all a figure of speech on how true that thing is. One night, sitting in the silence, I was thinking of nothing in particular, and suddenly before my eyes came this force, an enormous force. As I looked at it, it fragmented itself, broke into numberless little pieces, and then it reassembled itself. As it reassembled itself, it was not into a corpse, but into a man, seated in the lotus posture. I'm looking at this man, all seated now, perfect man. As I looked at him, I'm looking at myself. Here I am, the perceiver, observing myself, seated in the lotus posture, with deep, deep meditation. And as I became aware that I'm looking at myself, it began to glow. And it glowed and glowed and glowed. When it reached the intensity of luminosity, it exploded. And then I returned to the cell. Then I see him within me. That being is meditating this. This is but a projection of itself in the world. And when he wakes within me, completely wakes, I am he. God actually became me, that I may become God. And he's put me through all the pages, allowing me to make all the mistakes, to make a monster like the things I talked about earlier. I made that, I made a lovely one. And he allows me in his meditation. He is the dreamer in me. And he's dreaming this, and dreaming everything that I dream of this world. And when he awakes, this will cease to be, and I am he. And he is God. So I tell you, go out and try it. Begin tonight. I make you this promise: if you try it faithfully, you will not fail.
So I know it works. It took me 1 week to do it. That's all that it took me. 1 week. I simply went sound asleep in the assumption that my wife was there. And it's the girl to whom I'm now married, and who bore us this glorious daughter. And it's been since 1936. So here, this heavenly state was denied me, because I wasn't feeding myself the right food. I have food you know not of, and the food are words. And you repeat them within yourself. What am I saying? As Blake said, oh, what have I said? What have I done? Oh, all-powerful human words. What have I said? What have I done? Oh, all-powerful human words. If man only realized what he is doing when he is talking, who cares? Who knows? Who knows? The only one that cares knows. And he is your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. That's the Jehovah of the Old Testament and the Jesus of the New. And there is no other God. And he's buried in you. And he's dreaming in you. And surely you want to awake. And you will awake the day that you actually move in to the life of imagination, where you trust your imagination and live in it. You're not far from the threshold of rebirth. But I can't tell you the day or the hour. No one knows but the Father, and the Father is your own wonderful human imagination. I saw it so clearly. This is the stone that the builders rejected. But what the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. It was the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our sight. So I rejected the fact that I was the cause of the phenomena of my life. I couldn't believe it. I thought everyone outside of myself caused it. Then I realized, when I saw the vision, here is a stone, a quartz, and it's fragmented into numberless parts. As he said, the one who bought the home, that's a fragmented part of my own being. My doubt brought him into being. He materialized my doubt, a man, a person. And he bought the home I wanted because he had more money. I materialized that. It came out of me. So the whole thing fragmented. And then when it came together and formed itself into a man, seated in the lotus posture, and I looked at it, I'm looking at myself. Then I realized I am the cause. He is the dreamer in me. One day he is going to awake from this dream. And when he awakes, I am he. And he and I are one. This is the story I am trying to tell the whole vast world. Because I know it's true, and the day will come, you will know it's true. There is no other God than your own wonderful human imagination. I still will invite you, although I've told you to do it yourself, I still invite you, if you feel uneasy about it, to ask of me. For in the end, I tell you, we are one.